For Jimmy Uso, this scandal is more than a headline, it's a deeply personal battle. Known for his loyalty, resilience, and unmatched skill in the ring, Jimmy now faces heartbreak that no championship belt can fix. Insiders report that the divorce filing was not impulsive, it was the culmination of months of emotional strain, secrecy, and betrayal. Every personal and professional decision now carries the weight of this betrayal, making his journey one of courage and reinvention. Fans have been captivated by Jimmy's response. Across social media, #TeamJimmy continues to trend, with fans praising his strength, dignity, and composure. Videos of his matches, interviews, and behind-the-scenes moments circulate widely, framed as proof of his resilience. For many, Jimmy has become more than a wrestling superstar, he's a symbol of empowerment, showing that heartbreak can be met with strength rather than submission. Naomi, meanwhile, faces the harsh reality of public scrutiny. Her career, once ascending steadily, is now entangled in controversy. Fans and peers alike debate her involvement, questioning whether her actions were intentional betrayal or a personal lapse in judgment. Social media reactions range from outrage to empathy, but her image undeniably suffers in the wake of the scandal. Wrestling forums are filled with discussions dissecting every move, every social media post, and every public appearance, creating a level of fan engagement rarely seen outside major WWE storylines. Backstage, the dynamic within WWE has shifted. Superstars who were once allies of Naomi or neutral observers now navigate a tense environment. Jimmy's brothers, Jey Uso and Solo Sikoa, reportedly offered both public and private support, reinforcing the sense of family unity in the face of betrayal. The locker room, usually filled with laughter, competition, and camaraderie, has been temporarily overshadowed by whispers, tense glances, and the heavy weight of real-life drama. WWE management is carefully considering how to handle the situation on-screen. While some insiders suggest the scandal could inspire future storylines, the company reportedly prioritizes Jimmy's well-being above ratings. Respectful tributes, behind-the-scenes support, and subtle narrative nods have been implemented to acknowledge the real-life struggles without exploiting them. Every decision underscores the balance WWE must maintain between entertainment and empathy, a delicate line that few outside the business fully understand. Fans, of course, are playing a massive role in shaping the conversation. Online communities have created fan tributes, emotional videos, and support campaigns for Jimmy. Hashtags like #StandWithJimmy and #UsoStrong dominate social media, showcasing the depth of fan loyalty and investment in his personal journey. This engagement goes beyond mere speculation, it's an outpouring of emotional solidarity that highlights the unique relationship between WWE superstars and their audience. The scandal also raises larger conversations about trust, loyalty, and the personal lives of public figures. Wrestling fans are connecting their own experiences of betrayal to Jimmy's story, transforming his pain into a collective empathy movement. Forums are filled with heartfelt discussions, personal anecdotes, and debates about forgiveness, consequences, and empowerment. For many, Jimmy's response serves as both inspiration and a reminder of human resilience. Meanwhile, Jimmy has reportedly thrown himself into training, focusing on matches, in-ring innovation, and personal growth. Every performance becomes more than entertainment. It's an emotional statement, a testament to his ability to rise above adversity, and a message to both fans and peers that betrayal will not define him. WWE audiences are already noticing a difference. His intensity in the ring feels sharper, his promos more passionate, and his presence more commanding than ever before. And while the scandal dominates headlines, the story is far from over. Naomi's career trajectory, Jimmy's personal growth, and WWE's storyline evolution are all now intertwined, creating a real-life drama that eclipses any scripted feud. Fans are hooked, analyzing every development and predicting potential outcomes. The betrayal, heartbreak, and resilience of Jimmy Uso have become a saga that transcends wrestling, reminding audiences worldwide that the human element behind the spectacle is what truly captivates hearts and minds. The chaos didn't end there. The WWE Universe thought the officials would finally put a stop to the carnage, but Jacob Fatu was far from finished. His eyes, wild and locked with fury, told the story of a man possessed. Every step he took toward the battered bodies of Bron Breakker and Bronson sent a ripple of fear through the arena. The fans didn't know whether to cheer for the revenge or recoil in horror at the sheer savagery unfolding before their eyes. Breakker tried to show a flicker of defiance. Wincing in pain, he spat on the mat and muttered something under his breath, perhaps an insult, perhaps a final act of rebellion. That tiny act lit the fuse on a powder keg. Fatu roared, a primal scream that shook the rafters, before pouncing on Breakker like a predator mauling its prey. Hammer fists rained down, one after the other, until Breakker's body went limp under the assault. The referee team swarmed again, but they might as well have been swatting at a hurricane. Bronson, barely able to move, reached for the ropes in desperation, trying to pull himself upright. The WWE Universe let out a collective gasp when Fatu noticed him. Like a predator zeroing in on wounded prey, Fatu dragged Reed back to the center of the ring and hoisted him up for a bone-shattering powerbomb that sent shockwaves through the canvas. Reed's massive frame crumpled into a heap, motionless, as the crowd erupted in disbelief. But Fatu wasn't done making a statement. He grabbed a microphone, his voice shaking with raw emotion and rage. "This is what happens when you cross family. This is what happens when you disrespect the bloodline. You thought Roman was weak. You thought he was finished. Look at you now. Broken. Humiliated. And this is just the beginning." The crowd roared, half in fear, half in awe. Some fans chanted, "Bloodline. Bloodline," while others booed, disturbed by the vicious display. It was a rare moment where the line between hero and villain blurred, and Jacob Fatu stood right in the middle, thriving on the chaos he had created. As EMTs rushed to the ring, Jacob Fatu exited with slow, deliberate steps. But every few feet, he would glance back at the wreckage he left behind, his lips curling into a snarl. He had made his point, but it was clear to everyone watching, this was just the first chapter in his war of vengeance. Backstage, cameras caught the chaos spilling over. Breaker and Reed were stretchered out, their faces pale and twisted with pain. WWE officials scrambled, shouting into radios, trying to restore order. But looming in the shadows, Jacob Fatu lingered like a phantom, pacing like a caged beast, daring anyone to confront him. And then, Roman Reigns appeared. Bruised, battered, but standing. The crowd erupted when the tribal chief walked slowly into the scene, his eyes meeting Fatu's for the first time. The moment was electric. Paul Heyman, nervously clutching his tie, stood between them, terrified of what might happen next. Would Roman embrace Fatu as the bloodline's savage weapon, or would he see him as a threat too dangerous to control? The tension was unbearable. Fatu, his chest still heaving from the carnage he unleashed, locked eyes with Roman. And for the first time, Roman didn't look like the predator. He looked like a man staring at an uncontrollable force, a force even he might not be able to rein in. The WWE Universe was left hanging on the edge of their seats. The questions piled up. Was Jacob Fatu now the enforcer of the bloodline? Was he acting on Roman's orders, or was this his own war for family honor? And perhaps the most haunting question of all, what happens when Jacob Fatu decides that even Roman Reigns isn't safe from his wrath? The cameras faded, but the chaos had only begun. The attack on Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed wasn't just revenge, it was a declaration of war. A war that promised to consume WWE in ways no one could have predicted. The very next week, the WWE Universe tuned in with their hearts racing, desperate to see what fallout awaited after Jacob Fatu's savage statement. The arena buzzed with energy, but underneath that excitement was tension, an uneasiness that couldn't be shaken. Everyone knew something seismic was coming, and nobody could predict which way it would break. The show opened with Paul Heyman in the ring, clutching a microphone with trembling hands. His face was pale, his eyes darting nervously from the ramp to the crowd, as though he expected Jacob Fatu to storm out at any moment. The wise man tried to calm the storm, but even his words dripped with fear. "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and tonight, I stand before you not just as an advocate, not just as the wise man, but as a man terrified of what Jacob Fatu has unleashed. The bloodline is family. The bloodline is dominance. The bloodline is power. But Jacob Fatu." Heyman paused, swallowing hard. "Jacob Fatu is chaos incarnate. He is vengeance in flesh. He is the Samoan werewolf, and not even Roman Reigns himself may be able to contain him." The crowd gasped at Heyman's words. Even Paul Heyman, the master manipulator, the man who never showed weakness, admitted he was scared. That said everything. Before Heyman could continue, the arena lights cut out. The familiar howl of Jacob Fatu's entrance hit, and the fans erupted. The cameras shook as the Samoan werewolf stalked to the ring, eyes blazing, his very presence suffocating. Heyman looked like he'd seen a ghost, clutching the microphone like it might protect him from the storm standing across the ring. Fatu snatched the mic, snarling. "Paul, you talk too much. You think this is about control. You think this is about fear. This isn't about you. This isn't even about Roman. This is about respect. Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed disrespected family. They disrespected the bloodline that runs through my veins. And I will not stop until they, and anyone else who dares, are left broken." The crowd roared, but Heyman's hand trembled as he reached for the microphone again. Before he could speak, the tribal chief's music hit. The arena erupted in a thunderous chorus of boos and cheers as Roman Reigns slowly made his way down the ramp, bruises still visible on his face. He walked with authority, but there was something in his eyes, a flicker of hesitation, maybe even unease, as he stared at Fatu. Roman stepped into the ring, and the atmosphere shifted into something almost suffocating. The two stood inches apart, the crowd chanting, "This is awesome," but also holding their breath. The tension was unlike anything WWE had seen in years. Roman finally raised the microphone. "Jacob, you did what needed to be done. Breaker and Reed crossed the line, and you handled it. That's family business. But understand this." Roman's voice hardened, his tone dripping with dominance. "In this ring, in this bloodline, there is only one tribal chief. One. And it's me." The crowd exploded, sensing the confrontation about to boil over. Fatu tilted his head, a sinister grin spreading across his face. He circled Roman slowly, like a wolf stalking its prey, before stopping and locking eyes with him again. "I'm not here to take your throne, Roman," Fatu growled. "I'm here to protect it. But don't ever forget, if anyone comes for you, they go through me first. And if you ever forget what family means, maybe even you will." The arena erupted in shock. Roman's jaw clenched, his nostrils flared, but he didn't move. Heyman looked like he was about to faint, caught between two monsters who could destroy everything he had built. The standoff lasted for what felt like an eternity until finally, Roman extended his hand. Fatu stared at it, the crowd roaring in anticipation, before finally shaking it. But even in that handshake, there was no trust. There was only tension. The WWE Universe knew that this alliance was fragile, dangerous, and volatile. Fatu had declared himself protector of the tribal chief, but the question lingered, what happens when protector becomes usurper? Later that night, as Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu prepared to leave the arena, the chaos reignited. Out of nowhere, Bron Breakker, his ribs heavily taped, stormed the parking lot with a steel pipe in hand. He swung wildly, cracking Fatu across the back. The brawl spilled into chaos as Bronson Reed, limping but furious, joined the fray. The four men tore into each other like wild animals, security powerless to stop it. Fatu, bleeding but enraged, headbutted Breakker so hard he collapsed to the concrete. Reed tried to ram Roman into a car, but Roman reversed, smashing Reed into the hood with a Superman punch that left the vehicle dented. The fight didn't end in the ring. It didn't end backstage. It spilled into the streets outside the arena, fans screaming from behind barricades, the scene resembling a riot more than a wrestling show. By the time police sirens echoed in the distance, the destruction was unimaginable. Cars were smashed, equipment destroyed, and bodies littered across the parking lot. The camera zoomed in on Jacob Fatu, blood dripping from his forehead, his chest heaving as he screamed into the night sky. This is just the beginning. The WWE Universe sat in shock. This wasn't wrestling anymore. This was war. And the terrifying part, it had only just begun. The fallout from that parking lot brawl was unlike anything WWE had seen in years. Social media exploded, news outlets picked up the story, and even non-WWE fans were talking about the carnage. Broken cars, battered bodies, and a scene that looked less like sports entertainment and more like a crime scene. It had everyone asking one question. Has WWE completely lost control of Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns, Bron Breakker, and Bronson Reed? The following episode opened with WWE officials announcing massive fines, potential suspensions, and even threats of termination. Adam Pearce stood in the ring, his face grim, declaring, "What we witnessed was unacceptable. Lives were put at risk. The integrity of WWE was put at risk. If this continues, I will have no choice but to suspend every single one of you." The crowd booed, sensing the chaos brewing behind the scenes. But before Pearce could finish, Jacob Fatu stormed out, his presence alone sending chills through the arena. The fans erupted, half in awe, half in fear. Fatu grabbed the microphone out of Pearce's hand and snarled, "Suspend me. Fire me. Do whatever you want. But understand this, nobody, and I mean nobody, disrespects the bloodline and walks away. You want order. You want peace. Too bad. Because I'm here to bring war until everyone learns what family really means." Moments later, Bron Breakker's music hit, and the crowd went insane. Breakker limped to the stage, taped ribs and all, but his eyes burned with rage. He didn't wait for words. He charged the ring, sliding under the ropes and tackling Fatu with the fury of a man possessed. The arena erupted as fists flew, referees and security rushing in, but they couldn't contain the chaos. The brawl spilled out of the ring, over the barricade, into the stands, fans scattering as these two monsters destroyed everything in their path. Bronson Reed soon joined the fray, smashing Fatu with a steel chair, only to be met by the arrival of Roman Reigns himself. The tribal chief charged down the ramp, Superman punching Reed so hard he flew into the timekeeper's area. The arena shook with energy as Roman and Fatu stood tall together, momentarily united in their destruction of Breakker and Reed. But the look Roman gave Fatu afterward told a different story, uneasy, cautious, almost wary. The chaos brought out Adam Pearce again, this time screaming over the microphone. "Enough. If you want to tear each other apart, fine. But it'll be done officially, under my rules. At the next premium live event, it's Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns, versus Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. The crowd exploded at the announcement. A mega tag team match, mixing alliances and enemies, was set to headline. But as the camera zoomed in on Roman and Fatu, side by side, the tension was palpable. Fatu leaned close to Roman and whispered something that wasn't picked up by the microphones, but Roman's reaction, his jaw tightening, his expression darkening, told the WWE Universe all they needed to know. This partnership wasn't built on trust. It was built on necessity. Over the next week, backstage segments revealed the cracks forming. Roman Reigns pulled Paul Heyman aside, demanding answers. Did you bring Fatu here? Did you unleash this chaos without telling me? Heyman stammered, clearly rattled. My tribal chief, I swear to you, Jacob Fatu is not my doing. He is beyond even my control. Roman glared, his silence speaking louder than any words. Meanwhile, Jacob Fatu prowled the locker room like a lion in a cage. Superstars cleared the hallways when he passed. He smashed doors, flipped tables, and declared war on anyone who looked at him wrong. His obsession with vengeance against Breakker and Reed consumed him, but his unpredictability left everyone, including Roman, on edge. The night of the tag team main event finally arrived, and the WWE Universe could feel the electricity in the air. Roman Reigns made his entrance first, his aura commanding as always. The crowd booed and cheered, the tribal chief soaking in every ounce of energy. Then Jacob Fatu's entrance hit, the howl echoing through the arena as the Samoan werewolf stormed to the ring, pacing like a predator ready to strike. On the other side, Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed came out battered but defiant. Breakker's taped ribs and Reed's limp told the story of the punishment they had already endured, but their eyes showed no fear, only rage. The bell rang, and chaos erupted instantly. Fatu and Breakker collided like two freight trains, their impact shaking the entire ring. Roman squared off with Reed, his precision and dominance contrasting Fatu's wild, animalistic violence. The crowd was on fire, every move, every strike escalating the intensity. Breakker hit a devastating spear on Fatu, only for the Samoan werewolf to pop right back up, roaring in defiance. Reed flattened Roman with a splash, only to eat a Superman punch seconds later. The turning point came when Breakker went for another spear on Fatu, but this time, Fatu countered with a brutal Samoan spike that nearly took Breakker's head off. The crowd gasped as Breakker collapsed, motionless. Roman seized the moment, spearing Reed so hard the ring ropes shook violently. Together, Roman and Fatu stood tall, victorious, their arms raised, but the tension between them was undeniable. After the match, as Roman celebrated, Fatu refused to leave the ring. He grabbed the microphone, his eyes locked on Roman. Tonight, we won because I allowed it. But don't ever think for a second that you're the only tribal chief. I don't bow to anyone. Not even you. The crowd erupted, shocked at the audacity of Fatu's words. Roman's face darkened, his aura shifting from pride to fury. The two stood nose to nose, the crowd chanting, "Fight! Fight! Fight!" Heyman screamed in terror, begging them to stop. The WWE Universe was left with a chilling realization. Jacob Fatu wasn't just Roman's weapon of revenge. He was a ticking time bomb, ready to explode, and when he does, the bloodline itself may never recover.